The ship drifted into my hangar like a dying beast. I could tell from the scorch marks, ruptured plating, and sputtering plasma leaks that whoever piloted it had survived something vicious. As the station's chief repair engineer, I'd seen my share of wrecks, but this one looked half dead, half miracle. I thumbed the comm. Unidentified craft, you're docked in Bay 12. State your condition. Static hissed, then a woman's voice, hoarse but commanding. This vessel requires immediate stabilization. Crew of 1. I repeat 1. I request repairs and discretion. Her tone carried the sharpness of someone used to issuing orders, but I chalked it up to military background. Pirates, mercenaries, or ex-soldiers often crawled into outposts like mine. When the hatch hissed open, she staggered out in battered armor, helmet under her arm. She wasn't tall, but she carried herself like someone who'd been bred for war. Shoulders squared, eyes steady even though her skin was pale with exhaustion. A streak of blood marked her temple. "You're lucky you found me," I said, motioning to the ship. "Another few light minutes and you'd have been scrap." Her gaze met mine, gray eyes like storm clouds. "Luck had little to do with it, engineer." I calculated. I frowned at that but didn't press. Instead, I knelt beside the hull, running my scanner. Damage readouts bled across my wrist screen. Plasma core unstable. Thrusters shredded. Shields fried. She'd been in a firefight with someone far more powerful than her ship. "You fought someone heavy," I muttered. "Who was it?" Her jaw tightened. "An enemy who underestimated me." "Leave the questions. Just make it fly again." Typical warrior, I thought. Soldiers never cared about the why of things. Only the fight. Still I got to work. The middle, between sparks and secrets. Over the next few days, she remained by my side as I rebuilt her craft. She insisted on helping, though her hands trembled from half-healed wounds. "Your weld is crooked," I told her one night, watching sparks dance from her tool. Her lips curved faintly. "On my world, crooked welds hold longer." We argued like that often. She was precise yet impatient, stubborn yet surprisingly curious about how civilian engineers approached problems. Most warriors I'd met had contempt for techs like me, but she studied every move of my hands as though memorizing them. Between tasks, I caught her gazing at the stars through the hangar window. There was a longing in her eyes, but also sorrow. "You're far from home," I said quietly. Her silence stretched before she answered. "Home is not a place I can return to. Not yet." I didn't push further. She had the look of someone carrying secrets thicker than armor plating. Still, something about her drew me in. She was sharp, intense, but when she thought I wasn't looking, her face softened, as though she had been running for so long she didn't know how to stop. On the fourth night, trouble came. 2 cruisers slipped out of warp and locked onto our station. Their insignias bore the sigil of the Kareth Dominion, an empire notorious for hunting defectors. Their hail was blunt. "Station 12, release the fugitive aboard or be destroyed." I looked at her sharply. She didn't flinch. Instead, she pulled her helmet back on, sealing it with a hiss. "They found me." "Fugitive," I demanded. "What did you drag to my doorstep?" "Truth," she said, voice distorted by the helmet. "And an empire's wrath." The station shook under a warning blast. My workers panicked, scattering like rats. I didn't have weapons strong enough to fight off cruisers. She stepped forward, placing a hand on my shoulder. "You've done more than I could ask. Let me go to them. They want me, not you." Something in me rebelled at that. I wasn't a soldier, but I wasn't about to hand over someone I'd bled my knuckles repairing for. "Your ship's not ready," I said. "And neither am I." If they want a fight, we'll give them one, but on my terms. Her eyes widened slightly. For the first time, the warrior facade cracked. Engineer, you'd risk yourself? Smirk. I'm not letting my work be wasted. Besides, you still owe me answers. The truth revealed. Together we rigged a desperate plan. I rerouted the station's power grid into her ship's unstable plasma core, overcharging it into what was essentially a star-driven cannon. If timed right, we could punch a hole in one cruiser and scare off the other. As we worked, she finally spoke the truth. My name is Serenia Vallis. I am not merely a warrior. I am the last living heir of the Vallis dynasty, the rightful empress of the Androsian constellate. I froze, welding torch trembling. Empress! Her helmet retracted, revealing her face again, no longer hardened by secrecy, but illuminated by raw honesty. My family was slaughtered by the Dominion. I escaped with one ship and a vow to reclaim what was stolen. To them I am both a threat and a symbol. They will not stop until I am ashes. I stared, mind reeling. I had thought I was patching up a soldier, maybe a mercenary. But an empress. A living symbol of rebellion. Why hide it? Yes. She met my gaze. Because I needed someone to see me as I am. Not as a crown, not as a symbol. Just someone worth saving. My chest tightened. In that moment, I didn't see an empress. I saw the weary woman behind the armor. The one who welded crooked and gazed at the stars with unspoken grief. And I knew I couldn't let her fall. The battle. When the cruisers bore down, we were ready. I triggered the power surge, flooding her ship's core with unstable energy. She launched, her craft glowing like a second sun as it streaked across the void. The Dominion hailed, demanding surrender. She answered with fire. The overcharged cannon roared, ripping through one cruiser's shields and tearing its flank apart in a cascade of burning metal. The second ship wavered, then retreated, unwilling to face the same fate. Inside my control room, sweat dripped from my brow. Systems overloaded, alarms wailed, and the station's grid nearly melted down. But it held. And so did she. When she landed again, her steps were unsteady, but her eyes burned with renewed fire. You saved me, she whispered. I shook my head. We saved each other. The ending, a path forward. In the quiet that followed, she stood before me not as a warrior or even an empress, but as Serenia, the woman who had trusted me when she could trust no one. You know who I am now, she said softly. That knowledge alone makes you a target. You could walk away. I considered it. A life of peace, obscurity, and simple engineering, versus the storm she carried with her. But I had already chosen, hadn't I? I wiped grease from my hands and met her gaze. If you're going to take back your throne, you'll need more than warriors. You'll need ships, systems, minds that know how to build. Can be that. If you'll have me. For the first time, her composure cracked into something genuine. A smile, faint but radiant. Then walk with me, engineer. Not as servant, not as subject, but as ally. The stars stretched endless beyond the hangar window, vast and perilous. I had always thought my destiny was bound to bolts, wires, and plasma cores. But now, with Serenia Vallis, the hidden empress, beside me, I felt the stirrings of something greater. Rebellion. A throne reclaimed. A future where an engineer and an empress could reshape the galaxy.